I go here, he has this check, and he wins it. That's okay, I have another pawn. So he takes that pawn, and I should be able to get this one across before he can block me. Did you see that, guys? If I just pushed... Oh, I could have pushed this pawn immediately. No, I'd be in check. It's okay. Alright. Now he can't stop this pawn. Okay. Wow. Wow. I should be able to do this. Is there any checks? Yes, there's a check, but it isn't. It's not a fork. And I think that's what's important. And plus this check, he can't even go here. And then this, he also has this check. So I have to make sure not to get forked. If I go here, he can't even check my king at all. Oh yes, he can, but it doesn't matter. Okay. And his king's cut off from everything. And yeah, this is his final shot to win. And now I'm right here. His king's cut off. Alright, I just have to take this knight. He was hoping I wouldn't see that. Now this pawn's never getting there. And as soon as my queen gets here, I'll ensure that I'll ensure the draw no matter how hard I blunder once I take this pawn. No, yep, okay. Queen g1 check. Anyway. Yes, I guess people got bored of this slower game. Or maybe not, I have 19 viewers. I think they're enjoying this. What do you guys think? Is this better than the 3-minute games? You tell me. I'm liking this a lot more. Oh. He disconnected. Can you believe it? This guy disconnected. But, what are you gonna do? I guess I'm just gonna have to wait. Let's see. Let's check out my Facebook. I'm just kidding. I'm not actually checking. Posting at Red Archer. There are several players. Stream. Oh, wow. I'll remember that. Anyway, let's see if this guy moves. The guy didn't move yet. I don't know what to do. I win by disconnection. Yay. Not by the fact that I got that pawn out of him from the tactic. Yeah, you know what? People get upset. They don't know if there's people waiting on him. It's okay. I'm going to use this time to eat, and if you guys have any questions you want to ask me, feel free. And if you guys happen to be enjoying this stream enough that you might actually enjoy it, watch it again. Oh, I'm eating potatoes. I'm eating mashed potatoes. It's fun stuff. If you enjoyed enough that you want to watch it again, please feel free to follow me. That'd make me feel really nice. And if you don't want to follow me, well, I understand. Okay. Mashed potatoes. What's a blood trail? I don't know what blood trail is. I have no idea what blood trail is. To be honest with you, I have no idea. Thank you, Noobfet. I appreciate that. Knights can't if you keep your pieces on opposite colors. Well, thank you, Seek. I appreciate that too. Thank you very much for that. Alright, this guy left. You know what? I'm not seeing the, I know Kappa's emoticon, but I'm new to this. Alright, we're playing another 10-minute game, guys. And I moved slowly then, so I'm going to move slowly this game and see where it gets me. How's that sound? Alright, Benoni. I get out of all the Benoni's book by playing c3, I think. I don't even know if this still counts as Benoni anymore. I mean, it must, but, I mean, come on. Alright, I understand why he doesn't get much out of this. But, alright, let's take a look. What are my advantages? We both have the C file open, but I have a faster development. Alright, this might end up being more symmetrical than I'd like for entertainment purposes. If he plays at bishop f5, then Oh well. But I'd expect something like, for instance, if he plays bishop g4, then I'll play knight bd2. That's what I'll do. Oh, he played e6. Boroni. Alright, I don't see any emotes. It might be because I'm on Hex Chat. I'm on Hex Chat rather than the actual Twitch chat. Alright, he played e6. The problem I have with e6 is that it blocks in this C bishop, the c8 bishop, the light squared bishop, which I like. I like him doing that. Look, I understand I'm a French player, and so I'm used to playing with that c8 bishop, but there's no reason to keep that bishop inside. He could have played it on f5 or g4 and been pretty well off from that. Okay. So normally, you'd see my bishop. This is typical London ideas. Don't trade here because then this queen gets active. However, there's no c pawns. But if I play bishop g3, he takes, h takes g3, then right here I'll have this open file, but I'm not convinced that open file is enough. So I can play bishop e5, hoping that he'll take, but he doesn't have to take. He can play knight d7. So I might just take. Once he has his queen up here, I'm going to try and prove that this queen isn't well placed. I'm going to prove that my bishop's better than his, and try and squeeze him out in the endgame, I guess. I guess that's my plan. So I can play knight e5 immediately, or I can play knight c3, or knight bd2. The advantage to knight bd2 is I can play knight b3 and then knight c5 eventually. And knight c5 might actually be useful if this b pawn ever moves. But the advantage of knight c3 is that it's knight c3. And it's more advanced stuff is what I'm trying to say by that. Or I can wait for him to make a move and I can go up and play bishop d3. Putting pressure on this. You know what? I think the c files. I want to open up my queen side, get my rook into the game as fast as possible. And since the c file is going to open up eventually, perhaps I should just play knight bd2 and go rook c1 afterwards. However, knight c3 and then knight b5 at any point might become troublesome. So I'm going to go here. Because it also it keeps track of the bishop b5 square. If this bishop ever were to move out, it's holding it back. Alright, b5 is probably coming next. So I can play e3, and then once he plays b5, I play b4. And then after that, like I said before, the advantage of knight c3 is that I eventually get to play knight c5 if this pawn is moved. So I'm going to play a3. And I understand I'm a little bit behind in king safety. My king's stuck in the center longer than black's has to be. But I shouldn't get in danger fast enough for that to matter. Alright, so now is the next thing. The next thing I have to decide is bishop e2 or bishop d3. Bishop d3 is theoretically it's more active on this diagonal. However, the problem is e5, e4 is always a threat at some point. So I might not want to allow that being so much of a threat, potentially forking me right here and here. So I might just play bishop e2, play it safe like that, and then after that play on the c file, go for slightly better positioning of my knights. That might be what my preference is. Or, here's the thing, knight bd7 is strong because it's covering these two squares. So if I don't place a knight here or here before he goes knight bd7, my knights aren't going to be getting there anytime soon. So I'm actually going to go here with the idea that if he plays knight bd7, I'll just exchange it, and after that, the c5 square is actually that much weaker. Alright, that was a good move, because now I need to take it, otherwise my pawn structure is broken. I don't want to retreat, so I'm just going to take. And now black has a choice to play b takes c6, taking towards the center. This is interesting. It's an interesting move. However, he has to keep in mind that if he ever does play, let's say he takes here with the pawn instead of the queen, and then he can push down c5. If I just take here, I'll end up having a queenside majority, which might prove important in the endgame. Usually it's a queenside majority that has more of an impact because there's no king near it. So if like all the pieces are gone and the kings are both on the king's side, the one who has a queenside majority has a slight advantage. Alright, and this actually also makes my knight a4, knight c5 move even stronger. Because, look, it's blockading this pawn. Anyway, I'm going to play b4, preventing c5 altogether. And now, it's good I didn't commit my rooks to the c file yet, because right now, they wouldn't be looking too well on there. So my knight c3 on c3 looks a little bit loose, and my whole position looks a little bit loose, actually, for that matter. Because look, now I've overlooked a5. a5 is a great move, because it's actually eventually winning this pawn, this b4 pawn, if I'm not careful. So I really need to take care of that. This is a problem that, because I'm not developed properly, I could be in really big trouble right here. I need to think through this very carefully. It might be too late. I've overlooked this. I was overextending with b4. That's definitely true. Okay. If I play queen b3, then this pawn's pinned. Take. I'm losing the pawn regardless, or the queen if I'm not careful. So this is why I needed to be castled a long time ago. I can ignore it all and say, hey, I have a better knight than you, but then you can just exchange the knight off. So that's unfortunate. So that queen might... Oh! I have another idea. I can just take. I can take the a-pawn. I can take the a-pawn and fight a little bit longer. And he has to take with the rook, and after that, it's going to be time for further calculations. But I've already found that b takes a5 is definitely the safest move there. And probably it was obvious, I just somehow I didn't notice it earlier. Alright, so here's the thing that I have to deal with now. I'm being double attacked here. However, I can play queen b3 without losing that pawn because I exchanged the pawn. I could play knight a4 like my previous plan, but now knight d7's more of a threat, because eventually, well, it's not really a threat, it's just preventing my knight from moving, and then my knight will be on the edge, and that's not comfortable at all. I'm sure you guys have heard that knights on the rim are dim. They're considered dim because they're not doing much there. They have very limited influence. I'm down on time. I've been talking too much and thinking too much, so I'm going to move here and try to defend this pawn. And after that I'm going to castle, and then I'm going to start moving faster and talking less. And that might make my moves weaker. And I actually do have I have a passed a-pawn now. I just need to push it all the way over here, all the way up there. That's the only thing. What are the comments saying? Are the comments saying anything interesting? Alright. Did he just become Petrosian? Thank you. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, or if it's meant to be anything nice. Alright, so now he's exchanging off. That was very smart. Very, very smart. I can respect that attack. If I take, after he takes, he can double the rooks. But let's calculate. Take, castle over here, and then I can play knight a4. Another option is bishop e2, takes, knight takes, rook, castle, and that's even worse. I'm going to take. Alright. Oh yeah, a4. God, we're cheating. a4 is a great move. If he ever plays, once he doubles on the a file, I can play a4. And now since those light squared bishops are gone, I should be able to hold that for a long time. So first I'm going to castle. And then after that, if he doubles, I want to play this move. And now it's stuck. My knight's wonderful there defending.